All right, so I was just given a copy of the affidavit here, and as we predicted, a lot of it looks like this. There's a lot of redacted information here, and we're just going through it. There's a lot of focus on some of these boxes. What I'm seeing here is a statement from President Trump that went out after the initial raid in February, but a lot of this seems to be based on, whether or not the president had the prerogative to take some of these documents with him. He is the former president. And Erin, you're the lawyer here on this panel. I keep going back to what is a pretty well-established legal principle that the president of the United States can declassify anything he wants, whenever he wants, however he wants. And so ultimately it's going to come down to if are they going to really hold him to that? And there's 38 pages here. A lot of it is redacted, but we got to go through it to find out what exactly is in it. We're doing that now, but what do you think, Erin?
I think this is mostly a fishing expedition and a plan. That this isn't a legal analysis here. This is just a common sense one. That what they are doing right now is weaponizing the FBI and the DOJ, and what they're absolutely trying to do is prohibit President Trump from running in 2024. But I always say, be careful what you wish for, because then I believe that Governor DeSantis would step in. Not until then. That's the only way I believe he would step in. And then you're going to get people left, right, and center who like Governor DeSantis, and this is going to be an even bigger blowout. But all they're trying to do here is prohibit the president from running. But you know what? Donald Trump isn't a movement. He's started a movement. The America First movement is here to stay. It has grown. We've seen candidates all over the country that share the values of pride in our country, hard work, putting each other first, and just sort of respecting this country and pick yourself up by the bootstraps. So right now, this looks like a tactic that's used in third world banana republic countries. And just like the left was very fired up about the overturning of Roe versus Wade, I think anyone, left, right, or center, unless you have Trump derangement syndrome, you think this is absolutely crazy and un-American, and it's going to push people to the polls and vote Republican.
Yeah, Matthew, whatever they're going after here, it has to be so cut and dried and so clear cut that it was a clear and present danger to the national security of the United States. I mean, it's got to be like, oh, here's an email that Donald Trump shared with President Xi about the specs for the F-35 fighter. It's got to be something like that, I think, concrete for anyone to change their mind here. And the other question, too, that the FBI and the DOJ have got to get over to, if they're going to be seen as an arbiter in this, a fair participant, is the lack of transparency and their unwillingness to cooperate with the American public and their desire for information.
Well, I mean, we've talked about this on the show in the past, and the lack of journalistic curiosity from mainstream outlets to figure out what's actually going on. I think back to a couple of weeks ago when Merrick Garland did that press conference that we talked about, and we saw that he just left and journalists were okay with that. And I think the other thing to keep in mind here as well is every minute that anyone spends talking about the FBI raid on Donald Trump's documents is a minute that's not being spent talking, for example, about Biden's illegal student loan bailout. So this is a way also for Democrats to shift, the conversation away from how they're driving the country into economic turmoil, and instead talk about their favorite subject, talk about the media's favorite subject, Donald Trump, and not the obvious failings of Democrats as they're heading into a midterm election where every single headwind possible is in their faces. But this lets them say, oh, dangle this shiny object over here. Don't pay attention to how gas is through the roof, how we've just admitted that we illegally wiped out student loans to the cost of, I believe it's now estimated to be $1 trillion for this illegal student loan bailout. So that's the other thing going on. We're 74 days away from the midterm elections, and every minute that is spent talking about Donald Trump and not the Biden administration is a good minute for Democrats.
All right, guys, we're going to leave it here for right now. We'll get back to Erin. And to actually, Erin, let me stick with you real quick. There's one part here. I'm on page 22 now as I'm working through this. And it really does kind of get into the fact that, it's about where these documents were stored at Mar-a-Lago. And here is part of this. On June 8, 2022, the DOJ counsel sent former President Trump's counsel a letter. And it was really indicating that Mar-a-Lago does not contain a secure location authorized for storage of classified documents. As such, it appears since the time classified documents were removed from secure facilities at the White House and moved to Mar-a-Lago on or around January 20th, 2021, they have not been handled in an appropriate manner or stored in an appropriate location. So, I mean, I think, this seems to be somewhat significant here, that the documents were at Mar-a-Lago, but not in an approved location, not secured enough. Erin, you've been at Mar-a-Lago a lot.
It's not plenty of times.
Yeah, I mean, talk to us about this. What do you think about this?
Okay. This makes absolutely no sense. You cannot get on the property of Mar-a-Lago. There are security guards, Secret Service, armed officers literally guarding every entrance to the place. If your name is on a list or you are a member, you are vetted, pre-approved, and then allowed to enter. Then you're only allowed to, visit certain areas on the property, which are also very guarded. If you're like, let's say walking in like this, looking over to the left, that's the President and First Lady and Barron's residence, also guarded by Secret Service. There are cameras everywhere. There are video recordings 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This place is locked down and airtight. So I really don't understand what this is alleging. And by the way, you were talking about they need something huge here. What we call that is a smoking gun, right?
Right.
There doesn't seem to be any sort of smoking gun here. And whatever is redacted, we don't know anything about. Redaction is a process that we do in the law to protect sensitive information, confidential information, or information that is, part of an ongoing investigation. But Mar-a-Lago in and of itself and by its very nature should be declared and considered a secure location. It's not like you're sitting on the lobby having lunch and you can just see what President Trump is doing in his personal quarters. Yes, it's a public place to a certain degree, but it is very contained, very well monitored, very secure, very private. So this doesn't really sound like they have a leg to stand on here, and it sounds just like a fishing expedition.
Yeah, and I finally got to the conclusion here, Erin, page 30 of the document, and it says, based on foregoing facts and circumstances, I submit that probable cause exists to believe that evidence, contraband, fruits of crime, and other items illegally possessed in violation of 18 U.S. Code 793, section whatever, will be found on the premises. Further, I submit that this affidavit supports probable cause for a warrant to search the premises described in Attachment A and Attachment B. And we'll get to those in a second. But, again, this comes down to where the documents were sealed. We have a timeline that started in January when President Trump left the White House. It stretches into February when there was contact made and investigators showed up at Mar-a-Lago, and is now stretched into July and August when the raid actually went down. So, again, I think, Erin, we have a difficult time, wrapping our head around the timeline and why this had to happen now.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go back to something that you said, fruits of a crime. Well, why aren't we seeing any of those fruits? Moreover, they said there was probable cause to obtain that warrant. Probable cause in this situation may not have been without political bias. We already know that this judge was someone who donated to Hillary Clinton and had spoken poorly about President Trump. Probable cause doesn't need a prosecutor and a defense attorney and a jury of someone's peers to ascertain that there is probable cause. It can be a biased form to get to that conclusion. So honestly, all of this, starting from the very warrant itself to search the premises, could have been flawed and marred in political controversy. So starting from the top to the bottom and the left to the right, there are a lot of holes in this story and nothing is adding up. There is no smoking gun, as we said. We don't see that aha moment where they got President Trump. As of right now, it's very unclear. And by the way, there are going to be chain of custody issues, as we say in the law. Let's say you find a gun somewhere and, if you want to use that in trial, you need to know what happened when the police seized that gun, where it was stored up until the date of the trial. So where were these documents taken? Could they have been tampered with? Could have evidence been planted? They really better prove their case. The chain of custody was done meticulously and without flaw, because there are so many holes to this story and so many problems, starting with the probable cause, the warrant, and the raid. Also, in a warrant, you need to specifically describe the place to be searched and the things to be seized with specificity.
And they never did that.
Yes. So you need to know within a certain time. Probable cause can't be from 8 months ago, 10 months ago. So it has to be really recent.
The timeline is really something to focus on. All right, Erin, we're going to cut it off for now. Thank you for your insight on this. We'll get back to you hopefully a little bit later. Erin Elmore for us.
Bye.